Welcome back to Chaotic Vibes.
This is
This is
episode 9.
episode, yes.
Episode 9.
We are in a different space today, as you can tell.
Yes, due to some emergencies, but that's fine.
Yes, but you know, we have to bring the content. So we're here doing JYP's week.
Real! Very real.
That was so unnecessary.
Oh my god.
Like,
Real.
saying
Check out
JYP
Extraordinary Heroes, come back.
makes me think of JYP,
April 30th.
who I do not want to think about. Okay?
Well, I was talking about Park Jin Young of Guatemala.
The one and only. Love him. He is the JYP. He should replace the actual JYP.
I agree.
Isn't there another Park
I would
Jin
sign
Young?
the petition. Most likely.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about
This-
JYP.
Oh yeah, no, there's not.
No,
In the industry.
Yes, the one from CIX is Jin Young, but he's not Park.
Beijing
No.
Junior.
Beijing.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Love
Stream
that.
their music though. I mean, people.
She's a movie.
What is the topic for today?
Today's topic is minors in K-pop.
I
Yeah.
mean, truthfully, it's nothing new.
No.
Minus in
For
K-pop,
sure.
but I think it's getting relatively worse than past years or past decades because, as you can see, like with groups that debut like this year, last year, we have been people born in 2008, which is headache in itself. Like
I'm sorry, there's
Taehin from Eugene's, the Maknae, she is 14.
I didn't even realize that.
Chiquita from Baby Monster was 13 when they were doing their survival show thing.
Me personally, because I'm not paying attention to K-pop, I don't actually. I see it and I'm like, that's not okay, and that's my whole opinion.
So you want me to start?
Yeah, if you want to.
Alright. Minors in K-pop. Hate it. Minors working any way. Hate it. In Hollywood, in wherever other countries, I hate it. But we're speaking about K-pop, right?
Yes.
Specifically K-pop. I have a deep-rooted problem and hate with this because regardless of in the past we had others debuting as young like Jungkook and people from SM and stuff like that.
Taemin.
Exactly.
Jisung.
It's from the past, it's never been anything good, so I don't know why we think it would be something good in the future. Number one, with K-pop there's a lot of practicing times, right? And in the studio and practicing dance, practicing vocals, studying English to be able to communicate, studying Japanese because when they go on tours, just that toxic kind of work culture immediately. You've been away from home because now you have to live in dorms. Sometimes the dorms are tiny with 5, 6, 8 people living in one small space with 2 bedrooms. Like,
Sorry, but that's kind of gross.
I don't think that is conducive to growth at all, especially with like, say you said 13 and 14, right? Those are like critical years where you develop yourself as a person. They should be out there with their friends or in school or making those kind of connections, learning, because although people might like have the argument that is their passion, why you will let they could pursue their passion when they're old, but their passion isn't going to run away from them. But at the end of the day, development and growth, you need as the 13, 14, 12, 10, that's when you learn to communicate with each other. That's when you learn to problem solve. That's when you decide if you like something else. They say pursue their talents, but next thing they want to be an actual scientist, or next thing they want to be a actual artist like painting or something. Next thing they want to play football, but all they know right now is that I want to sing and dance. You change your mind. I'm sure you don't don't want to be the same thing now as you were when you was 12 or 13.
So
Or
true.
some people might have it. Some
I
people
do.
still don't know, but like you, as you grow and you get experience and you're open to more things, you understand that okay, well, this probably wasn't for me. I still like it, but that's not a path I want to take in life. You
Something I
see,
was actually talking to my mom about recently was like how how like socially stunted these people could probably
That's what I
be.
was not going to say
But
too.
like also, how do they? A lot of what happens in that we see in K-pop is them not being socially stunted. So how are they? How are they
Exactly.
actually getting a social interaction? Because
Exactly.
for example, let's say I'm just gonna give random names and random ages here. Let's say Bam Bam was 7 years the junior to the next oldest person in the group. How will he actually get that social interaction that was necessary? Because you need to interact with your peers.
Exactly, but now you have to interact with somebody who's much older than you.
Mhm.
Not only that, too, like when controversy and stuff hits, like you realize that some of these people don't know how to problem solve or communicate in a sensible way, and I think that's why some scandals does happen at the end of the day too. Like for foolishness, is because they don't understand and they've never gotten the chance to understand and be out in the real world, if that makes sense.
Like out of like the bubble of
Yeah.
being like a trainee
Exactly.
or like an artist. Like
Exactly.
there's like awareness outside of that
Exactly.
you don't get when you're like like surrounded or like shielded or like protected
Exactly.
by the company, your managers, all of that.
Minors should not be getting hate in the way that these how toxic the K-pop community is. Like that decreases your what you call it self-worth. It makes you feel at a young age that you're not worth it, and it gives you what does call it again? Issues, self-esteem issues and stuff like that. Why are we having 13, 12, 14-year-olds in an environment where it have people much older than them who's telling them you're overweight, you can't sing properly, you can't dance properly? Why are we knowingly putting minors in this environment knowing that they can't defend themselves? That's like throwing a minor, a baby, into a war and have guns flying at them, and how they're going to protect themselves. That is, the K-pop environment is
And we know that
toxic.
companies
Let me just put it out like that way.
Well
Exactly. It's toxic. It's not that. I'm not saying that it's bad, because I love K-pop. I love the K-pop community, but it is toxic. So you have to have a certain type of capability, mental awareness, mental capacity, in order to not take everything to heart. And supposing like some of them might be, thick skin, but like as a child, I know that might get to me if every minute, because there's a certain amount you could take before it starts to become true to you. So at first they might be saying, oh, I know I could dance and stuff like that. But if from 13 all the way to say 20, like 7 years, you hearing that you're too fat, or you're too skinny, or you can't sing, or you can't dance, after a while it's going to become true to you. And now you're going to have adults who have self-esteem issues, and who have low self-worth, and who have anxiety, and who have depression, and who never learn how to communicate. So now they don't know how to combat that anxiety and depression, and now they have to be at their big age building a self-worth. So honestly speaking, even though it's been happening before, it doesn't mean it's a good thing. It doesn't mean it's an okay thing. But in Hollywood, we know these people open harassment in the workplace, and although nothing has come up in K-pop yet, some things could be happening behind closed doors. And then now you also have minors around adults, and that opens like doors for any type of unwarranted advances and stuff to happen.
Not even
or
just the advances, but like learning how to set boundaries.
Exactly.
Like
and learning stuff from adults who is not your parents. You don't know what adults could teach you wrong stuff,
Exactly. When you're not in an environment that's conducive to learning, because I mean, sure, they're teaching you how to dance, they're teaching you how to sing, they're teaching you how to have stage presence. They're not really like in the habit, they're not in a good routine of teaching you how to build your self-esteem. They're not teaching you how to, I mean, we don't know, but what we're not really seeing them teach you how to love yourself.
They're just putting them out there like, we going to train you to dance and sing, but other than that, we putting you out there, you learn everything else for yourself. It have no parents,
I mean,
so
there's only so much you can learn
to filter like
there's
the
only so much
unnecessary.
You can learn from people who are older than you and also trainees in the company or in your group. There's only so much, because I mean, if you have a full group of let's say 8 people, who are debuting under 18. They don't know who they are yet.
It had nobody to be in the group even to like help them because if only under 18, it's like the blind leading the blind.
Yeah. So all they're doing is really finding like solidarity in, is this the right thing? Is this the way that I want to be? Is this how I actually am? And nobody who is like unsure of themselves can make you feel more sure of yourself as well. It's
Exactly.
not you could try, but you're gonna see their insecurities. You're gonna be like, maybe I am.
At the end of the day, the K-pop industry is a business,
And money
and it is
their mindset.
and money is what drives it. So at the end of the day, these idols are commodities to these companies.
Exactly.
And they, in the best interest of these companies, they don't take into consideration mental health, protection of minors, any of those kinds of things, because at the end of the day, money must make. So I am of the view, maybe it's controversial, but children should not be in media points
Blank. Period.
Like, children should not be working. I don't understand how this doesn't like apply to like entertainment or media and stuff. There are laws for child labor. Why is media not included in that? Why
Exactly.
are children working?
It's not included in media because representation.
Still,
No, it's
Still,
I don't
it's
agree with
children
it, but it's
working.
representation.
it's children working, children away from their families, meaning in settings where they are adults only, and there's no one to really like advocate for the children besides like their managers, who often also have their own agendas. Like, they're thinking they have to make this group successful in order to make money on their part. Because I sure they make money off of the groups that they manage or whatever, right? K-pop managers are definitely different to like Western managers, because they do like more like assistant types of like driving them the hair, like traveling with them and stuff like that. But yeah, children should not be in situations where they are not being children. That makes no
Exactly.
sense. They're
Yeah, I
working
can,
on
like-
godly hours. They miss school. They're not being educated. Like,
No, we don't know that, huh? They are
Let's
Not,
say-
not, just not a blanket
Just-
statement.
But let's
Okay.
just say all of this is based on what we see. It's like an assumption based. We could only discuss on what we
assumption,
see.
yes.
And honestly speaking, I agree with that like education thing, because some of these, like we go back to controversies too. Some of these controversies so it's just based on ignorance, and I feel like if
Yeah,
they were like in school or in out there where they could learn, half of these things would not happen because they would not be so blindly ignorant and just in a bubble. And that is something you also get when you out there
I
and not in a
agree, but
practice
I also
room.
disagree, because I mean, you exist in a bubble in your company, but you can also exist in a bubble in your in whatever social circle you are in. I exist in a
True,
the truth
true.
is
That
I
is
also
true.
exist in a- in
That's-
a-
that is true.
You belong to.
Exactly.
That
so
is true.
Yeah.
So them existing in a bubble is not just a part of the company, but it will be a part of their parents, their friend groups, their school.
That is true,
all of
but
those
now they're
things.
not. But now we this is just based on, again, what we see, an assumption. You said it's based on their school and their parents and stuff like that. These people are not in school as much as they should be. They're not around their parents as much as they should be.
Agreed.
They spend most of their time in the company. So we could
on
only blame
official
as
schedules.
assumptions or based on what we see that they spend most of the time, say it's 24 hours in a day, half or more than half of that time is in the company.
Children should not be missing out on fundamental like pieces of their development for monetary gain or like fame and fortune. That's all I'm saying.
I want
Let's
time
also
with
talk
that.
with the monetary gain, because there's this ex-member from a group, I can't remember which group they were on, and they gave the rundown or breakdown of how much they were paid within their time. As a minor now, although there are stuff put in place, like in the Western world, there's the Cuban account and stuff like that. Although there are stuff put in place, how as a minor are you sure that these people that you're trusting putting your money where your money is supposed to go? Now as an adult, if you be too trusting and you make your poor financial decisions, that's on you. But as a child, you cannot make those decisions for yourself, so you obviously have to go to a trusted adult or whatever, probably a manager, in case like you're too far away from your parents, so your parents can't really make that decision. How are you sure that as a minor now, and how are you safeguarding yourself, because you're expecting the adults to safeguard you, that your money going where your money is supposed to go. So you're doing all this work, and at the end of the day, you don't really know with yourself if your money going to your account for your future.
That's what I was
Because
saying.
yeah, let me
They're
not go
more
to
easily
here.
susceptible
You could be
to, like,
to
scams
take
and stuff.
advantage of.
That's what I'm saying. Like these industries not set up in like to advocate for like minors because it's made to benefit the people on top, you know, who make the most money. It's not made to be in favor of those at the bottom. And I would say a lot of these idols are at the bottom of the food chain in these companies because they are literally
They are workers. They're
cash
literally
cows.
workers.
They are the cash cows of these companies because they bring any wealth because they are the face of the brand, but they're not making the same money as the people who in top positions at these companies.
Something I like. I feel like you're both touched on, but like not really. Is the fact that they kind of jump into maturity before, so like
Yeah,
they don't
they
get
just-
any kind of child. They don't get to be children.
Yeah.
No,
Not
they don't
just-
get to play. They don't get to.
Not just skipping like the development process,
They just
but
don't get to be children.
literally crying about what's going on. They fall on, they scream and they can't literally take a little 10 minutes and cry. It's get back up, put on a plaster, continue to do your practice. It's, oh my god, somebody had a hate comment to me, you need to fix your face and go back out there and show them that you're fine, this is not affecting you and those things.
Oh my god,
Right.
I'm sleepy. I can't go and sleep. I had to go and do
There's
what I had to do.
Something I really admire this group for. I will always bring Mamamoo into it. Mamamoo, while they didn't debut as like minors or anything, they were still young enough to have needed some time to have social lives. And in like the behind the scenes interviews and whatever, they said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Oh my gosh, I didn't get any sleep." So like they kept making it public that it was happening, even though I mean there's probably like backlash in their companies. They were saying it. And that's something that I feel like should be done on behalf of minors, and also that minors should be doing in the industry, so that there's something done for them. Because you could say we notice that it's happening, but if they don't say it and if it's not getting the attention of people in Korea who can actually do something about it, or if they're not saying it and representing themselves in it being done, who are we?
I think
can't
so
do
that
anything,
the
really.
industry from Mamamoo's
I mean,
time to now, no, but
we
from
can't do anything really. We are the ones
As
who
much
can
as we
make
have,
change as the audience.
as much as we are the audience and we have a
but
voice
it
that can
just say the
affect things.
companies don't really care. So we could boycott how much we want to boycott. We could do how much we want to do. The companies will
defined
find
as
way
it.
to make money.
Exactly.
They are
if
defined
you,
as-
No,
if you
but-
have if a lawsuit comes to a company because we said something, if the company turns around and said, well, the group didn't say it, and you have no evidence that the group is saying it,
Also, something I feel like we did not touch on that's a very big issue with minors in K-pop, and minors in general in any entertainment field anywhere, is sexualization of minors.
That's a, I was
is
bringing
a
that up when I was going to
big-
talk about being around
issue.
adults.
Yeah, that is
Like-
a big issue.
I know some people, let's be saying, oh, they have like their safety pants at the bottom of them, or you can't dictate what people wear, or it's the outer people who sexualizing them. I've heard that comment too, like they wear what they want to
Yes.
wear, but you's
Yes.
the one who's sexualizing them, so
Yes.
you is the problem, whatever. However,
Let's
if
be
as a
real.
parent, I'm not going to let no 12-year-old or
Yeah.
13-year-old wear things that I could probably see the bottom of their butts, you know, like a little showy or crop tops and stuff like that.
These
I'm not
performers, because you have to call them performers in this circumstance, these performers don't choose their outfits in.
Exactly.
They go on the day sometimes of their
Exactly.
performance, and they said they told this is what you're gonna wear.
exactly.
That
And the
in
thing is
itself
too,
is a problem,
that in
though.
itself is the problem.
Regarding sexualization, it also stems a lot from even the company level, because they are the ones making the creative choices and like how they should be dressed, the kind of
Adults?
concepts
Of
they go for,
The adults.
the kind of image they want to put out for each individual member.
adults.
Yeah, it's the adults' responsibility.
Adults making these decisions and that's
For
so
minors.
wrong. Like
It's
make
adults'
that make
responsibility.
sense.
to
You
protect
really
minors
can't tell
always.
me that is something they're not fishy.
And like it's all a system built to not have these minors safe And I think that's a very big problem all over the world in so many different
sure.
industries.
And we're speaking of male and female
Exactly.
idols, eh?
Yes.
So it's not just the females, the males also become sexualized.
Yeah, so I feel like moving forward, I don't know how realistic this is. Like, I feel like companies, any kind of system anywhere in the world should be held accountable for not protecting minors because they are children and children should be protected anywhere, anytime.
And we
Period.
can talk how much we want to talk, but like at the end of the day, it's the companies who have to want to change. So
Also, the audience, those weird people who find it
attractive,
hilarious
and nice
attractive,
and normal. Not even that normal.
to view minors in a very inappropriate way. Yeah, Christine.
Yeah, so my point is on like the trainee period, because I noticed in a few survival shows of late we have a lot of like prodigies that are like 14. I think maybe like the youngest is like 12 or so. And people like root for them to debut. Like the one that I followed closely was Island, and at that time Taki was really young, and a lot of people wanted Taki to debut. And it's not that Taki was untalented at the time; it was that he was too young. And this happens in a lot of other survival shows recently, and I find that it's better for them. Like, don't be mad that when they don't debut, because it's better for them to have a more time training and more time perfecting their craft, because there are a lot of child prodigies everywhere, and we're not taking away from their talent. We're trying to nurture them by not debuting them when they're so young, and it's better to debut them when they're like a bit older, like 16, 17 or whatever, and then they'll be even better. Like, if you think about it like that, they'll be even better at what they do. So
But I have,
Go ahead.
I have a question. Do you all think children, minors in general, should be trainees?
No. Oh, well, no.
I
What
do
if they? I think so, but like for them to debut when they're older, because they could be trainees, and they when it gives them
There
like
needs
a
to be
longer
things
period
in
of time,
place, yeah.
they still include
I
going to
think that
school
the
and making
Agreed,
friends and stuff
agreed.
like that. You know, so they could still be trainees, but give them a longer period of time so they could still grow. You know, they could be trainees and be a child.
Or it should be like I believe it should be not like a career path until they reach adult
Extracurricular.
age. It should be a hobby or extracurricular after school or whatever. When
there should
they
be, like,
are
And
hours
then they go to
stipulation.
train.
Yes.
Yeah, they
I
should
feel
be.
like I feel like there could be trainees in the way that they are, but like only as they've reached the age of consent, and not sexual consent, but there's
Not just
but
consent,
you can
like
be
they
like you can be a signatory on your own documents after
like
a certain age.
employable.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is in Korea. Let's say it's.
Jihyo was literally a trainee when she was 10 years old.
No, but
And I
like
think they
Korea,
should have,
no,
like-
Korea, the age of adults is like consent is like 20.
it's like 18.
Let's say
Yeah.
the age of
International
consent
age.
is.
International age is 18, but
In Korea, I believe it's 20.
Oh, you mean
when
for, like,
they become
signing? I don't know what it is for
I think it's
an
I think
adult.
it's 20.
Let-
Even-
in Korea,
let's just say 18 to 20.
Let's say it's from 16 to 20. The youngest
From
trainee, the youngest person that starts in a company should be 16, not going to be 16 in December, but is 16. So
They
they
should be
can't,
16.
so they can't sign a contract until the day after they've turned 16 years old.
And along with that, when they're signing that contract, if they are minor, their parents need to sign onto that
Their
contract.
parents
as
need to
well.
read everything.
Their
Their parents need to be
present.
there. Their parents need to be
Also,
there.
they should have counsel, meaning lawyers involved on the minor's part. Just saying.
I think there should be hour stipulations, because there are a lot
Same.
of trainees that drop out of school because they spend too much
That's
time
what I'm saying.
practicing,
I think it
or
should
they
be an
live far away
extracurricular.
from the company, so they
Yeah.
have to commute a lot, and obviously that will affect their schooling. So I think that there should be like you can only be at the company like this many hours per day,
or
Yeah.
even
or between this time frame, like not after like 8 p.m. You know.
or even a system where if they're minors, these companies like invest in like some like performing or like arts academy for minor trainees. So like it's still a school system where they're still doing things like math, English, or whatever,
That is
or
actually a good
Korean.
idea.
Yeah, they could
I
set
think
they
that's
could set
a
up a
minor.
schooling system.
They have
They could
performing
still have-
arts
they have
schools.
the money.
But I
Not-
think
not
she
even-
means
not
like
even just
actually
that.
like send like the trainees that are not in those performing arts schools to the schools,
But
like
not even
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
that. So like
so that they're
Chris-
doing their training in school.
Like
Yeah,
remember
basically.
that show that we were watching where
Yeah,
they showed
that's
in the extra they showed how they had the children go to classes and take breaks up during sets so that they could be
Yes.
children.
Yes.
They can do that.
Yes.
Say, okay, well you've done 6 hours of training today, you need a break. Let's go to school, let's do school a little bit differently. So you're still learning.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yes, so while they
You're still around other people.
Exactly. So while they might still keep you in the controlled environment, if the stipulation is where they go to school is too far away or anything like that, while they're still keeping you in the company,
They're still
they're
educating
making sure
you.
that you have education, and making sure that you have peer socialization, not just group wide socialization or adult socialization.
Like fundamental development.
You're making sure
Yeah.
you're still a child.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
just be a child. There's nothing wrong with being a child. You don't have to grow up fast. Just be a child. When you become an adult, you just realize, oh gosh, sometimes I should have take more time enjoying being a child.
You know,
Be
one
a
people- I don't know if you all
child.
ever got this when you were in high school, but I remember somebody that I don't even think was an adult or regular around me. They were like, high school is the best days of your life. I remember thinking,
It
what
was the
nonsense
worst.
are you talking about? I'm struggling socially. I'm struggling academically. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
I would like to go back
Honestly, me
to being in the first year
I would say so.
of high
Myself,
school.
personally. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Secondary
there's
school.
there's nothing being. At the
There's
time, I thought
no
it was.
real problems.
I thought that
I'ma
was
be
like
real.
most horrible time of my life.
For me personally.
No, but
Other
like,
people have different experiences.
there's
Sure.
okay with
Yeah.
it's nothing wrong with being a child, and we not. I think at the end of the day here too, we're not trying to say if the children are passionate about something, they shouldn't pursue it. They can, but
We are
like
saying the problem is the adults need to do a better job of
Exactly.
processing the
And-
kids.
Correct. And
That's
then,
it.
it's okay.
Yeah.
They need to be children, not just workers. So they could go ahead and pursue it. They could go ahead and become idols and stuff like that, But like when they're older, they don't have to run it down now. Like
Yes.
12-year-olds,
because-
13, you shouldn't be working.
Especially because, like, bouncing back to a point before that I'm not going to flash out at all. Because you're in the public eye, you're going to experience negative emotional
And they need to be
backlash.
able to come back
you're
to be
going
strong enough for that.
Exactly, you're going to be sexualized. Literally, just because you're in the public eye, you're going to experience people who hate you just because you are in the public eye. They're going to experience people who praise you and give you a god complex just because you're in the public eye. You need to be down to earth. You need to have a personality. You need to have a backbone. You need to have a support system that's like pat down before you go into the public eye like that. And for many companies, we're not seeing that. We're seeing people who came out as prodigies and they literally
like no social awareness.
they're not humble.
Yeah.
They you can see that they're pretending to be humble. There's no like real genuine connection between their members and stuff like that. It's just all.
So now you're a minor and you're not even saying that you're in a group with your friends, you're in a group with co-workers.
Exactly.
What kind of minor is that you already know about co-workers and putting up a front?
All in all.
I didn't learn that till like
all
2
in,
years ago.
all in all, children should be protected, and it should not be pawns in adults' games anymore.
In the K-pop industry or in
Any industry with
So, guys, thanks for joining us in the chaos. Episode 9 was quite heavy one, but I think it's a necessary topic to have in the K-pop industry because a lot of us like disregard it. I would say we try not to think about it, but I think it's very important to have this conversation because we don't want to normalize endangering minors
True.
in media. So yeah.
child labor isn't cool.
Adults do better.
Yeah. So see you next time in the chaos.
Bye.
Bye.